can't do it. Okay. We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Fuck it.
That's right. Here we go. It is the Daily Puck Drop Live. It's Puck. It's Jim Moore broadcasting from the PuckSports studios built by Limbeck Lumber Contractors. They've got free deliveries from everything from whole house packages to homeowner DIY projects. And they've got the largest stock moldings in the Northwest. They've got old school service because we're old. And they've been doing it since 1930. Jim, what were the 30s like? You can call Limbeck Lumber at 206-782-3487.
You ever get tired of doing that shit?
Visit them online at limbecklumber.com.
You ever get tired of that?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't. I think it's funny. It makes me laugh.
Why do we make? Hey, listen. Why do we make fun of old people in our society? Why do we do that? I heard that in Japan, that they're just revered. They're wise people and they're looked up to. Why do we just, seem to treat old people like trash in this country?
I don't treat old people like trash.
Oh, just one old person then?
Just you.
Okay, touche.
I mean, I don't.
And what's the problem with being old anyway? Is it because we're closer to death than you are or something? Or what's the deal with that?
Oh, yeah, I think that's part of it, probably.
like you're just like kind of washed up and on your way out, rear view mirror your career, all that. I understand that.
You're not on the rear view mirror of life. Tell people what you did. I'm in awe of you. I make fun of you because I love you. You make fun of me because you love me. All right.
No, because you're fat. That's why I make fun of you.
Well, that's uncalled for.
No, it's not because I love you. I'm just stating facts.
I mean, that's mean. I had eggs today. Leave me alone.
What's worse, you giving me shit for being old all the time, or me, saying, come on, man, you're 48.
I think fat shaming.
You're 48. Trim down a little bit. Come on.
I think fat shaming is worse. That is worse. I think what you're doing is worse. You're a bully, is what you are.
No, it's not.
You're a bully.
No, it's not.
Yeah, you're a bully.
Hey, I'm kind of chubby too. No. I mean, I'm not as chubby as you, but
I was. Son of a bitch. I was gonna tell everybody
you're giving me a compliment.
You already got up. The day it hasn't even started yet. I mean, it started for us. It's 10 o'clock. Here we go. It's our normal time that we've always been on. We got to spread the word to people. I'm going to tell you right now, it's the best thing going on in Seattle media right now. Come on. I mean, everybody, you got to admit that. All right, this is entertaining. But you've already had a full day. You've already had a 5-mile hike, for God's sakes.
Yeah, what I've been doing lately is I get up at 6, and for some reason, I don't know if it's when you get old, you have a hard time sleeping in. At least I do. And so whether I go to bed at 10, 11, or midnight, I'm up at 6. The dogs, wake me up. They want to be fed.
Right.
And then I'll do show prep. And, I watch those shows that you really like, Get Up and Stephen A. Smith.
Get Up's okay.
Sometimes
I don't know why you watch Steve. I don't know why you watch First Take. I don't get that.
Well, just to see what's going on nationally.
What do you mean nationally? There's nothing going on nationally. It's all about the Cowboys.
Well, yeah, there's that. But Stephen A. is always ripping on the Cowboys. I appreciate that.
Okay.
I wouldn't have known about. There's like one of the NFL centers. I forget which team it was that he puked on the ball this week.
The Packers guy. Yeah. That was on Sunday. Today's Wednesday. Did you not watch any of the highlights on Sunday?
I'm just saying that I probably learned that on Get Up on Monday.
Oh, okay.
Then I got a thing for Kimberly Martin. I admit it, and
you do love talk about fat shaming. You fat shame me. She's big. She's as big as the fridge.
No, she looks great to me. I mean, you look so, but she looks great. She looks great. The yellow fingernails, I'm not I'm not into that. But
I love the fact that your celebrity crush is Kimberly Martin.
Do
people know who Kimberly Martin is?
Well, they should.
Look her up.
They should. Yeah. No, I do have a crush on her. I admit it, and I think she's really good too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your celebrity crush.
I like those guys on that show.
Yeah. Okay. Well, your media crush is Kimberly Martin. Yeah, that's good for you.
Yeah. Is that okay to have one on her?
Of course. Yeah. Yeah. It just surprises me that you don't like fat people and you would like her. It's kind of odd.
No, I do like fat people.
Yeah, just, you spend so much time yelling and screaming and being mad at fat people that then you.
I mean, you're always giving me shit about being old. And, you are going to be 67 someday, hopefully.
I know. And I hope to be moving around just like you. I tell you that every single time. All right.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. And I think I've also told you that, I want to know when it's time to quit. I don't want to be one of those guys that's having to be yanked out of the press box.
Well, you've been told to be out of the press box, though, by 2 different companies recently. I think that Jim, I'm getting word. I think the decision on your future has been made.
Your position, Jim, Rich Moore.
Hey,
your
Jim,
position.
Hey, Jim. Yeah, hi. Where are you driving? Are you driving? Oh, you're driving back to where'd you pull off at? Are you in Madras already? Hey, just wanted to let you know you don't have to come in tomorrow.
Yeah. Phone call from Rich Moore saying my position has been eliminated, and then, of course, I expected a phone call from 710. Hey, thank you for your 12 years of service, and that lasted about 3 minutes.
Do you think that they? You think the Mariners? God, that Mariners game. We got to talk about the Mariners and Victor Robles. We'll get to that. We're going to get to Geno. The rumors, the reports of Tulane and Memphis. I need a neighbor update. I want to know where you're at with your neighbor. But I got to know. I mean, I didn't see it live. We were coming back from with the Inter Bay Eagles at a football practice yesterday. Gearing up for their much anticipated matchup with Glacier. Who are we playing this week? Glacier Peak? No, not Glacier Peak. Cedar Park.
Oh, Cedar Park Christian?
Yeah, that's where Butch Gontroff went. He's been running I don't know.
Is he cheating there too? Come on.
I'm not sure if he's cheating at Cedar Park, but we're not playing the high school team. We're playing the feeder team, whatever, that's going to go into the high school. I think he's still the head coach there, right? He went there.
I don't know. I'm not.
Is he still cheating? I don't know if he's still cheating. I'm not sure.
That was one of my favorite all-time stories. Was that institute?
The learning center,
academic institute,
the academic institution, the academic puppy mill that they had in the strip mall.
I love the picture of the academic institute. It was a strip mall off of Northrop Way.
It was terrible. Remember how bad it looked? It was just like,
it's one thing to cheat in college athletics, and it's really tough to cheat anymore in college athletics.
But
when you're getting your yayas, off of high school kids, and cheating at that level, you're a freaking loser, man, when you do that. And everybody's like, oh, Butch Gontroff, well, maybe he was, I forget, was he like Pete Carroll saying, well, I didn't know that was going on or anything?
I don't know, but they were such a good team, and they still are a good team. I mean, they're going to win. They won it last year. They're going to win it again this year.
And that wing T shit, come on, get that wing T stuff out of here. What, are we back in the 30s? I hate the wing T.
I love it. I love the wing T.
Are you running it?
No, we should. We like to spread them out like everybody else does, and air raid. No, I'd run the wing. I want our coaches to run. Again, I'm just quality control coach. I don't do anything. I just tell people to get back. I want to run.
Did you give yourself that title, or did someone give you that title?
I gave.
Hey, Jason, we're going to call you the quality control coach.
No, I gave myself the title.
Okay.
I'm the quality control coach for the Inter Bay Eagles Pee Wee team. That's what I am.
Yeah. And what's the quality like these days?
Took one on the chin last week against Eastside Catholic, 36-16. It was a good game though. They scored late.
I'd probably put the line at a pick 'em against Cedar Park Christian.
No, see, they're very good. Very good. I would.
I think it's a pick 'em.
Okay, we'll see. Hopefully, we're going to institute some new defensive schemes and some new offensive plays. And the best thing is about when you put in new offensive plays on a Tuesday before you play a game on Saturday with 10-year-olds, they usually work.
Yeah, Are you getting a lot of false start penalties with the Inter Bay Eagles?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
No, we're good. Snap the ball good. We get it all off. What was I going to say? I lost my train of thought. I don't know. But Cedar Park.
You were talking about Goncharov being a cheater, I think, weren't you?
No, you were talking about Goncharov being a cheater. Okay, I don't know. Now I'm sidetracked. Now I'm just going to jump right into the Mariners. Oh, I know what I got sidetracked because we were at practice yesterday, so I didn't see it live. Then I watched it later. the Victor Robles play. I mean, you want to sum up the season? That play right there. And then Julio dropping the ball in the center field. That's just some Mariners baseball 2024, those two plays.
Yeah, do you think Julio lost it in the lights? It was too low to lose it in the lights, though, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened, but he clearly, lost it. And then, the game's over. It doesn't really mean anything. And then Victor.
Now, they did give him an error on that play, did they not? Or
yeah, his glove.
Okay, I just wonder.
Hold on. You know what? Hold on. Let's double check because I'm with you. Sometimes with the crew over there, they don't tend to give guys errors.
Well, they probably were sitting there going, "Yeah, I don't want to give Julio an error, but I think I might have to on that one."
Yeah. Just a crap-tastic game, and then everybody won. So now they're 5 back in the West. They're 3 back in the wild card, but again, they're really 4 back in the wild card. Or is it 2 or 3? Yeah, they're really 4 back in the wild card because they don't have the tiebreaker.
I got the magic numbers. You want the magic numbers?
They did give him an error.
They did. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. What's the magic number? Magic number for what?
For Houston, it's 7 for the AL West. So any combination of Astros wins and Mariner losses totaling 7. And for the wild card, the Twins' magic number is 8.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. Do you like that?
Yeah, I love it.
I bring information sometimes.
You do. So the Robles play. Wouldn't you love to have like a microphone on the internal thoughts of Justin Turner as he's sitting up there with the bases loaded? You're in a chase for the playoffs. The team that you're playing right now just scored a couple runs. You have a golden opportunity. You've been in these moments before, Jim. You've had huge hits as, of course, leading the Dodgers to a World Series title. And you're thinking to yourself, that's a 3-0 count. If I do get a meatball, maybe I'll turn on it here a little bit, or I'm going to take it because he's all over the place. And we score a run. We're going to get ourselves right back into it. We're just going to move the train along. And then all of a sudden you see this guy sprinting down from third, trying to steal home. And you're like, what the fuck are we doing?
Well, so Gil had hit Robles, and that's why he was on, and then two walks. And so clearly he has command issues, Puck. And it's 3-0.
Wait, hold on. I'm getting word that, boy, why did I watch Brad and Angie when I can get that breakdown? He had control issues, huh? You don't say.
I don't know how to respond to that. I thought I was heading somewhere. I was trying to sound like, they made Angie an inside baseball analyst, didn't they, when they don't have Krueger and other people there? So, yeah, she probably handled this explanation better than I am.
Well, why would he do that?
I'll piggyback onto what you were saying about Justin Turner.
Yeah.
He had to have been standing there going, are you kidding me? Like, I played for the Dodgers, and we used to win World Series when I was there, and I have never had a teammate at any level be as stupid as what Robles just did there. That
too. I think
like the Mariners have had a lot of bad plays in their history, but is that like number one dumbest play ever that a guy would do that?
I mean, we've both watched a lot of baseball. And so I'm trying to think of what would be a dumber play. I mean, I can't come up with it on the fly.
Well,
you're always a prisoner of the moment, but I cannot come up with a dumber play from a very smart, player, a great base runner. I love when he does it in other situations. And a lot of times he does catch the pitcher sleeping, or, he's had several times where he's stolen a base where the catcher's throwing it back to the pitcher, lollygagging it like you're in Little League, and he steals a base. It's great. But not in that situation. You don't do it. What are you doing?
No, and maybe if the count was 0-2 or 1-2, something like that. But like Wilson was saying afterwards, you got to make sure. Dan Wilson, that was an opportunity for him to go off.
Yeah,
and he didn't do it. Can you just for a minute? I just wish I was thinking.
Agreed.
Oh my
100%.
God, if Lou Piniella was the manager,
100%.
can you imagine what he would have done?
I said that last night, and I got some of these Mariner ball washing people going, what was he supposed to say? What good would that have done? To air out one of his players in public? I don't know. To never fucking do it again? What do you think? He sat up there and just like, oh, he's just being aggressive. No, you just, it's just aggressive play. But, he's aggressive.
I think Service might have even, barked a little bit after
just
that.
Be a little. It's okay, Dan, to be a little upset. Maybe you were more upset like behind the scenes. I do think it's fair to ask and fair to speculate whether or not Victor Robles really left the game because he got hit on the hand. I think it's fair to wonder that. Or did he just pull him from the game? I think it's fair to speculate that at least there is a sliver. It doesn't have to be a lot, a sliver of a chance that he pulled him from the game and then just said, well, he pulled him, and you made an excuse afterwards because he wants to keep it in-house. That we really pulled him.
Well, he was the DH, wasn't he? So he didn't have to throw.
Yeah, so, I mean.
Then they bring Garber in, and he strikes out 3 times. That was
wait, well, did Edgar help him?
No, I think it was, Garber is still a more complicated approach. He hasn't simplified things yet.
But it's just, we all love Robles. I love what Victor Robles brings, but come on, man. What are you doing?
Isn't he one of the best hitters, one of the best OPS guys in baseball the last month or so?
He's been great, but I think I agree with you. That was a moment for Dan Wilson to set the tone for because that affected the entire game. I mean, it just did. It absolutely drained the momentum that you had, drained the energy, and it sucked the life out of that team after that.
Well, Turner might have hit a grand slam. You don't know.
Of course. You're right. And I think it's an opportunity for Dan to kind of lay down the law a little bit and establish himself publicly a little bit rather than just kind of sheepishly give an answer of he's just being aggressive. I don't know. I don't think he handled that well in the postgame. Whatever. I mean, it's maybe that's how he's going to manage and how he's going to handle things and all of that. But
do you think he'll be in the lineup tonight? I mean, you just about if he can play, he's been your best hitter. Well, outside, I mean, Julio's been hot lately.
Yeah, Julio's been hot. Yeah, I mean, if he can play, sure, throw him in there. I mean, this is probably not the time to send a message to bench him if you're trying to win every game you can. So you can't do it. Hey, Jim. Jim's going to take off for a little bit and go attend to the dogs. I just love when you take off randomly.
Well, God, it's Kathy is just, I mean, she's my wife and I love her and all that.
Here we go.
You got to say all that shit you're supposed to say about your wife.
Here we go.
But it's hey, I'm going to be doing this podcast with Puck, and let me see if I can get it straight with you. Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 10 to 10:40.
Sure.
Every week.
Yep.
And could I maybe have a little quiet for 40 fucking minutes? But no. There's some bullshit going on upstairs. I think the housekeeper came or something, and she'll probably be down here with the vacuum shortly. And
I can't wait. I can't wait. Well, you know what? She doesn't respect your time. She doesn't. Never has. Never will. One of the things I saw on Twitter last night that made me laugh, because I agree with these people, and I just wish more people would agree. And in a weird way, I'm glad they lost last night for one reason in particular. Okay. And the Yes Network talked about it on their broadcast last night, why they were excited to watch the Mariners lose last night in that game, because of, if it ever plays, I'll get to the audio in a second.
And a strike.
Well, the one positive for the Mariners today is with this loss, if they continue to go on and lose, you might not have to see these hideous uniforms that they're sporting today. Go back to the normal ones.
Thank God somebody said it. They're the worst uniforms in the history of uniforms. They're so bad.
What? You think so?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the. I mean, maybe I've grown to like them, kind of. Yeah, I don't like them, not one bit.
They're
and
okay.
I'm probably in the minority. I'm in the minority on this one.
Well, did you like that they were rolling with the superstitious thing with, having such a good record with the uniforms?
I do like that. Yes. I like that. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
It's like when the Twins had the old hot dog, the old sausage that they were carrying around for all those months. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm into that. Yeah, that's cool. I like that.
But we're back to the white uniforms tonight, aren't we?
Probably. I mean, I don't think they lost the losing streak or the winning streak's over with them. But yeah, the city connects. Yeah, I don't know. I think we could do better. I think we do better. Black pants.
Hey,
really?
You know what though? I'm kind of with you on the Mariners. Like I mean, I'm still watching, but I've lost my interest about a week ago.
Well, of course, because I mean,
yeah, but I know, but why? Because they're still in it. I mean, the Twins aren't playing very well, and you're only 3 behind, and there's still a chance, and all those things.
But you're not just 3 behind them. You're also behind the Tigers.
Yeah,
you're behind them as well. I mean,
but it's I honestly, Puck, and I think you feel the same way. I was talking to a guy at the 2-year-old granddaughter birthday party the other day, and exactly how I feel about it. Like, he doesn't want them to be like, you don't want the Mariners to finish 1 game out. Like, you want Houston to, if you're not going to make the playoffs, you want Houston to win by 7 or 8. You want the Twins to win by 7 or 8. You don't want it to be close because Jerry's going to sure as shit go,
well, yeah.
Hey, man, we were in a photo finish there at Emerald Downs.
Didn't we
were
talk
this
about
far
this
away?
Didn't we talk about this weeks ago?
The prospects are getting ready to come up, and then we got to just sift through all that bullshit for one more off season.
Yep.
Get another Tommy La Stella next year to add to the lineup.
Okay, I'll do this. I'm going to do this as fast as I can. Okay, ready? I'm Jerry DePoto. 3, 2, 1. Disappointing season. They missed the play. Hold on. Let me time out. They missed the game. They missed the playoffs by a game or 2. Okay. Disappointing season. Obviously, we'd want to win games, but we didn't get there. The ultimate goal is to get to the playoffs. But, boy, we finished strong. And I really like the direction that we're going in with Dan Wilson. I think he's really turned the offensive philosophy in our hitters around. I mean, we couldn't anticipate the injuries that we went through. I mean, we went through some significant injuries. J.P. Crawford, highlighting that. We didn't have the output that we normally would get from Julio, but we've seen some things here in the last month from Julio that we think are going to carry over into the next season. We still have an unbelievable pitching staff, club control. Victor Robles, great. Cal had another great season. We're going to add to that here in the offseason. I've been given assurances from the ownership group that we have an open wallet and we can spend, and there'll be no hesitation to go out and attract free agents. And the other thing that has me excited is that, we've talked about this before, that first wave of young talent that came through with our pitchers. And that was the plan. Now plan 2 is wave 2. And wave 2 is coming soon. The Colt Emersons of the world and Young and Harry Ford, they're going to be here shortly. And we think that's going to position us to the future of great success for the Mariners. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah, that's exactly why we need them to finish 6 games out instead of 1. Because it'll look even more ridiculous that they kept him.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what they want, though. This is the bed that they made. I think the interesting thing is going to be, what are they going to do with Randy Arozarena? Because I asked this question, and we've talked about him a lot. I asked this question yesterday to Bill Krueger, and hopefully this audio plays without me having to stall forever before it plays. But I was surprised a little bit with what Krueger said.
I think they have a better version of him for $4 million for 2 years and an option.
That being?
Robles.
Okay.
I'm looking for another outfielder. I'm not spending that kind of money on Arozarena. He's okay defensively. I'm not saying I wouldn't want him, but when you start thinking about, well, what's he making? 12 now? He's going to be arbitration eligible. What's that going to be more? He's going to be a double digit, way up in the double digits number. Okay. Going to be a critical issue for the Mariners. And to me, when I watch him, it feels to me like his instincts are, I'm not going to get paid. So I think he gets a little hangdog. He is a little hangdog. He's way up here, or he's hangdog. Right?
I agree. Do you get that sense from him a little bit? He's when things are going right, he's great, but when things aren't going good, he's.
We've talked about this before, and I agree with Krueger. I agree with you. Randy Arozarena, I think he was a good addition for a team that was trying to make the playoffs, that needed another bat in a lineup, but he looks like a guy to me that doesn't want to be here a lot of the time. And that's okay. But I mean, he should probably do a better job of faking it. And the stepping out of the box shit. I mean, it's and it worked out okay the other day. Where he stepped out 3-0, 3-1, 3-2, and then hit the home run. But and I like his crossed arm thing, and he seems fun. But I will just contend that, even though I don't have any inside sources, anybody telling me, the body language with him, I agree with Krueger. I don't think he wants to be here. I don't think he's ever wanted to be here. He's trying to make the best of it, but he's just like praying that somehow the Mariners will trade him in the offseason to somewhere else, like anywhere else, or somewhere preferably down, Miami or wherever, closer to home for him.
Yeah.
But
but there's times where I think he does, I think Krueger's point was this yesterday, and it's up on the podcast if you want to watch it and listen to it. It's up on YouTube and Apple and Spotify and all that. His point was, like, when they're going good or he's going good, like, he's like the biggest cheerleader on the team, but when they struggle, it's like, the effort's not there, the enthusiasm is not there, and I get it. And there's gonna be a lot of money to go spend on Randy Rosarina next year, making $8 million this year, whatever he's gonna make in arbitration. I mean, it's gonna be a hell of a jump there for him starting next season. So I mean, I get it. I understood what he was kind of getting at there with the Rosarino. So I don't know what they're going to do with it. I wouldn't be shocked. Well, I'll ask Divish later. He's going to come on around 10:45. I'm going to ask Divish about what he thinks his future is going to be. I think he's already, we've talked about it before. I think they'll try and entertain moving on from him. But got 12. What do we have? 12 games left or 11 games left? 11 left.
Yeah. And you look at it, I know there's games after the Houston series, but you like the idea of them being within 3 going into that series, so you could at least come out of it being tied.
Yeah.
But
I don't see it happening. I mean, just none of it is. I mean, they're completely disappointing season, and Duquette said it on Monday, and I agree. Even if they were to sneak in, it's still a disappointing season. There was a golden opportunity for them to take the division.
No, but at that point, if they snuck in, then you still look at everything that we talked about all year with the pitching that they have. They still would be a threat to maybe run the table in the playoffs.
But they weren't supposed to sneak in, I guess is my point. They were supposed to just get in.
Yeah.
Easily.
Well, when you have a 10-game lead and you blow that.
Oh, my, come on. It was just terrible. Have you paid me you just want to pay me the bet now with Geno Smith and Sam Howell?
Thinking about it, I mean, do you have how the betting services, they sometimes will offer a buyout for things that appear that are going to happen. Like, it looks to me like I'm going to lose $250 to you that Sam Howell will not start a game this year. I think you're correct about that, but it's still a long season.
I'll let you buy out. What do you want? 150?
Well, I'm kind of on a fixed income down here now. And I did win 400 on the Cougs, though.
Okay, then take 150. I'll let you get out of it for 150.
God, I'd feel like a bigger fool though that if I did this,
he's not going to start a game over him.
Huh?
He's not going to start a game over him ever this season. Not going to happen. And again, for those who don't remember, the bet was you thought Sam Howell would start a game this year, not because of injury, just because Geno's ineffective.
Yeah. Well, Geno will fade at some point. But my God, did he look good.
Are you sure about that?
He looked great on Sunday. He just – and, I was like Dan Orlovsky, that guy that I watch on the yelling show.
Yeah, you love with the fat girl that you like?
Yeah. I do like her. Tell me you don't like Kimberly Martin.
I do like her. I'm just busting your balls. I find her attractive as well. I mean, come on, let's go.
Okay. But no, Geno, can you make a case for Geno being a top 10 quarterback in the NFL right now? I think you can.
Well, it's 2 games, but yeah, I mean, he's got the fourth best completion percentage, down by like 74%. He's the 4th best QBR, 7th best passer rating. Yeah, so far through 2 weeks he has. But
then look how clutch he's been.
Been great.
All these come from behind wins last year, or fourth quarter, victories, game-winning drives, all these different things that Geno's done. Yeah. I wonder how Hugh is taking all this.
Why does Hugh not like Geno?
Remember, I think he always pointed out, what was that? The intended air yards.
Oh, intended air yards. Yeah, I do love intended air yards. That's a great one. Hey, side note here, we're getting a lot of people that are texting this in or on the YouTube chat, and then I've also received a few texts from let's just call him the new Kraken host. You have a housekeeper? Well, how does someone who just claimed to be on a fixed income, who is retired, have a fucking housekeeper? Do you think maybe, hey, we're on a fixed income, maybe we shouldn't have a housekeeper? And the other part is, what are you two doing all day that you can't clean your own house?
I don't have a good answer for that. Especially when the housekeeper is downstairs where I am right now, that we are never downstairs now that the boys are gone.
Cleaning.
And so they're really, unless there's some dust that is collected in the last week since she was here, there's no reason for her to be down here.
So she's in the room with you right now?
Well, she's down here on the lower floor. Yeah, I've got the bedroom shut.
What is she cleaning then?
I don't know. I don't want to get up and check that out, because you'll be like, oh, the Jim's leaving again.
When is she going to start the vacuum so we can hear that?
Oh, she already has.
Oh,
she already has. And Kathy asked her to stop.
Yeah. Hey, is she good looking?
No. No. We're moving in 2 weeks, though. We got to be out of here by September 30th.
Is she smaller or bigger than Kimberly Martin?
She's stocky.
Stocky.
But I'm stocky too, and so are you. Like you're really stocky.
Where are you moving? You're leaving? Oh, I want an update on the neighbors. So last time we checked, did one of you throw dog poop on the neighbor's yard? And because there has been a real animosity between you and the neighbors. There's been a real turf war here for the last few months between you and your neighbor. And I think our listeners and viewers would love an update on where we stand with your neighbors in Bend.
Boy, not good. I'll try and make it as quick as possible here.
I came home. Floor is yours.
I came home from Seattle on Sunday, and and Kathy was out of town in Portland, the girls' weekend thing. And I saw this can like on the entryway to our house. And I thought, it must be the girl who was watering our flowers when we were gone. See, we have all kinds of people helping out. Someone cleaning the house, someone watering the flowers.
Do you pay this person to water your flowers?
KJR paid me so much that, I'm just...
you're just swimming in money.
But no, then I went out to pick it up and throw it away, and I looked in it, and there was dog poop in it. And then I thought, well, okay, the neighbor, my dog must have pooped over in his yard. Even though the dogs, anyway.
Didn't you take the dogs to Seattle with you?
No, the dogs, I'm trying to think where the dogs were.
Did you pay somebody to watch the dogs when you were gone?
No. Well, anyway, so I went over and I just said to the guy, rang the doorbell, and I go, hey, Devin, what's going on?
His name's Devin?
Yeah, are you trying to make a statement here or what? And he goes, well, yeah. And then, we went back and forth on it. And then I just said, hey, look, I apologize. Somehow they got out of my sight or something. And anyway, so then I shook his hand and I said, look, it's going to be better for both of us we're going to leave the end of the month. So just 2 more weeks, and, sorry. And you have every right to complain about our dogs and all this stuff. So then I came home, and while I was walking back across the cul-de-sac, I looked in the can and I thought, wait a minute, those poops are too small to have been pooped by my dogs, because my dogs are, 60 pounds and 80 pounds. And so I kept the can for Kathy to look at when she got home. And she got home, that night, and she looked in the can and agreed with me that was some other person's smaller dog that had pooped in Devin's yard. And so then, oh my God, my wife, if you think I'm mad at this guy, you should see how mad Kathy is. Kathy went out with a flashlight in our lower yard looking for our own dog's poop so that she could put it in the can and show Devin the size of our dog's poop versus what he thought was our dog's poop that he left on our doorstep.
Of course.
And she loaded it up too. I mean, she loaded that sucker up.
Did
and
she
then
take it over?
Yeah, she left a nasty note for him. And I just said, Kath, I go, you can leave the nasty note if you want, but do not leave the dog poop over there. She goes, no, I'm leaving the dog poop. Don't ask me to not leave the dog poop over there. I'm leaving it. So she took it over there and left it. It was like 10:30 at night or something like that. So he wasn't going to see it till the next morning. She came back and I just said, look,
God bless
you
her.
can't do that. You can leave the note. I don't care about the note. You can't leave that poop there.
Why?
Because you know what I was thinking? I was thinking this guy, he's like mild mannered, but who knows what might set him off. He might just go, hey, fuck it, man. I'm pulling out the rifle and I'm going after the dogs.
Does
or
Devin
the people.
look like someone who would own a rifle?
No, but
Not
you never
with that
know.
name, Devin. Come on.
You never know, though. You never know. And so I finally talked her into going over there and getting the poop and bringing it back. And so she just left the note. So
the note, then did he respond to the note?
No, he didn't respond to the note.
Do you think Devin is going to, when you guys are pulling out and, the U-Haul's away, do you think Devin's going to be in the driveway waving goodbye and like, see you guys, bye Jim, bye Kathy, bye River, bye Sky?
No. And then there's one more thing I want to add. A couple days ago, I was just in watching the Falcons and Eagles, just pulling for the Falcons. I had them on the money line and I had them +6.
Yeah, good for you. Nice,
and then
nice
all of a sudden, Kathy comes in and she was outside with the dogs and she came in and she was just so upset at the dogs and what they had done. Well, Devin and his wife and kids were out like trying to ride bikes down the road. And River and Sky just went tearing after him and barking at him. And so it was just
because they don't like Devin and the kids, because Devin is a tattletale and River and Sky know. And here's to River and Sky, maybe, biting the kids in the ass. Let's go.
So it was a bad scene, which led to, Kathy apologizing. Devin's wife didn't want to talk to her. Kathy wrote another note, left it over there and apologizing. And, we're going to be leaving in 2 weeks.
How many times do you think you two have apologized to neighbor Devin? How many times? Just
I know I've done it. I know I've done it 2 or 3 times. And I told him, I go, you're completely in the right here. You're completely in the right. But, fortunately, they're letting us out of the lease and we're not going to be evicted. We're going to leave on our own accord. And so we're currently trying to figure out whether we should rent another place or buy a place. We're trying to weigh that out right now.
All right. So, but staying in Bend.
No, but let me just be clear about this. Again, I'm a great dog owner if you're the dog, but I'm sometimes a shitty dog owner when it comes to other people. And so, I should have trained my dogs and I didn't, but I'm going to take the blame for this. And I told him that too. And I also said, I want to thank you for doing this because we're paying way too much for this place. So we're going to leave. And, we're kind of in this, ritzy part of Bend. And I'm not comfortable here.
You're happy that you met Devin, that Devin was kind of an a-hole.
He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. I can tell he's a nice guy.
You didn't like the place. You wanted out. This gave you a convenient excuse. And I think you privately were telling River and Sky to go over there and take giant shits on his yard so you could get out of it. So it would piss him off. And then thus the guy who's renting it out to you would get all these emails or phone calls from Devin. And then eventually they would evict you. So
yeah, what made me feel better though, that the people that are renting just below Devin's house, I saw her out one day and I went over and started talking to her, and unsolicited, she just goes, "Hey, these people that live next door to us, they're not very friendly." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, you're talking about them? The guy that's giving me shit about my dog all the time?" She goes, "Yeah. Why does he have such a problem with your dogs anyway? I just don't understand that."
Devin,
I'm like, Can I give you a hug?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez. I mean, I don't. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Aggressive.
Yeah.
Right to the hug, huh?
So that's
Devin from.
I thought about what do you think? What do you think? There's some. The boys aren't here. I've got some furniture downstairs that I need to move. Out to the garage and into a U-Haul. Do you think if I asked Devin to come over here and help me a little bit with that, because do you think he would? Or
Yeah, I want you to ask, or I thought you were going to say, we're going to take some of the furniture we don't want, we're just going to put out in front and just put the, what is always a lovely thing around Seattle is where they just everyone just puts their stuff they don't want because they don't want to take it to Goodwill or the dump free. And it just sits there.
Yeah.
Like, why?
No, I
Just
thought
get
maybe
rid
he
of it.
would. I thought maybe that that would be no way he'd come help me. But then I thought, wait a minute, if it makes my move quicker, maybe he would help me.
Yeah. We're gonna talk to Divish, or I'm gonna talk to Divish here in about 5 minutes. I got to sneak this in before Divish comes on. I'm with you. The Tulane Memphis thing doesn't do it for me.
No.
Coming to the Pac-12. I talked to Canzano about this yesterday, and I just said, hey, I mean, I get it. I understand. I think it'd be a fun 2 places to go visit for sure. I mean, you want to talk about road trips. I mean, you're going to New Orleans and Memphis. I mean, it doesn't really get much better than that. There are not many other cities that would get much better than that. But, I'm excited about Fresno and Colorado State and Boise because it's kind of West Coast-ish. You're just doing the same thing that Cal and Stanford are doing, traveling across the country. So, no, Memphis and Tulane don't do it for me one bit. Not one bit. Not excited
and
about
I know Canzano explained it to you, and Wilner will explain the financial ramifications and why you would want those two. But I'm with you, man. I want some sort of geographical bond with all these teams, and
right.
And UNLV seems like such an obvious one. We would love that as Cougs going to Vegas every other year.
Yeah, that's the one I don't get. Like, I don't understand why they. Well, actually, I do now because I asked John this, because they're tied. They're kind of like UCLA and Cal with their regions. UNLV and Nevada are tied, so they can't really do anything on their own.
Yeah, but Wilner kind of poo-pooed that today. Did you see that?
I don't really read John Wilner, so I read John Canzano.
Well, I do too, but Wilner, I can't. It's a paywall there at the Mercury News, but sometimes the Times carries his stuff.
Yeah.
But no, Wilner said that it was news to the Board of Regents or the state, whoever, there in Nevada, that the two were tied to each other. So that seems to pave the way, maybe that UNLV could come in.
Well, I would be more fired up about UNLV coming.
Yeah. And if
Memphis and Tulane.
I know it's all about football, but we got a full court press, man, on Gonzaga. Gonzaga for basketball, that'd be awesome. And then you have, San Diego State.
But that doesn't help you for football, though. You need it for football.
No, I know.
You need to get to 8 for football. So, I'm with you on Gonzaga, but I think Gonzaga, they would be like, is that really an upgrade to what we're in now? I think they would say no.
Well, at least, Gonzaga, Spokane. I like the idea of Grand Canyon, even Phoenix. And I know that would be basketball too.
Kind of dumb.
But this Memphis and Tulane stuff, stop.
I always feel like Grand Canyon is like made up, like or what was that? University of Phoenix, like a made up school. Like Grand Canyon.
Well, Stevie didn't like it. He was out of there. He was out of there in one semester.
I forgot Stevie went there. I forgot about that. Yeah, and
a little too religious for one of my kids. Can you imagine
religious. That? Yeah, it's super religious, right?
One more thing, and I know you need to get to Divish here.
No, it's fine. He's not here yet. You're good.
I thought of something else to worry about as a Coug fan. Like you gave me a hard time yesterday about, Dickert being an attractive candidate the more that we keep winning.
Yeah, okay. Stop. Oh, hold on. Let's stop. Let me before you get to your point. Yeah, the old Crimson podcast and also Cougs Corner, which we do every week. We tape it on Tuesdays. Those are out now. They were released early this morning. They're going to be released every Wednesday at 9 a.m. All brought to you by fabulous sponsors, Flat Stick Pub, and of course the Cougar Collective. The Cougs Corner visit this week is with linebacker Kyle Thornton. He was great. Phenomenal in the game, but a fun interview, real good personality. We talk a lot about golf because he's picked up golf, so that's good. And then the podcast, yes, of you, me, and Paul Sorensen with Jamie Vinica as well from CougFan.com. He comes and gives us a practice report. We yelled and screamed at each other, and I yelled at you because you're worried about losing Dickert.
Yeah. Do you think Jamie said more than I did on that podcast?
Jamie's got a lot to say. What do you want?
Did we figure out if Carlos Hernandez is going to play sometime this year?
I think so. I think so at some point. Okay, what are you going to say about Dickert?
I just amuse myself so much.
know
It's not about Dickert. Okay, here's my new concern. Like, I like the idea of us running the table if we can beat Boise State, because we're going to be favored in the rest of our games. But these Mountain West opponents that we're playing down the stretch, do you think they're going to be upset and have a chip on their shoulder about, hey, wait a minute, you and Oregon State somehow, you guys just came in here and blew up our conference. That's not cool. And so I look, the intangible thing, like, are they going to be like fired up to spoil our season because we went in? And because we're all, mad at the Pac-12 defectors, are they going to be upset that we came in and disturbed their conference? And because the Mountain West probably isn't going to exist, in 2026 and beyond.
Why? They have got 8 schools left. Why wouldn't they?
Yeah. So,
but why would
if I'm a Mountain West Conference fan, I don't like what the Pac-12 is doing here, taking 4 of our teams.
Well, 100%, but I don't think that it's going to cease to exist. But I do agree with your. I think all those schools want to beat their ass because they're they're coming. Oh, they think they're better than us. They're coming from the Pac-12 and all that. I think they want to shove it up their ass. Of course. I think a lot of those kids probably wanted to play in the Pac-12. They didn't get a scholarship offer from Oregon State and Washington State, and they want to prove it to them. It's the same thing like when an Oregon player is playing for the Beavs and wanted to go to Oregon. He's going to use that as motivation. Or if you're like Andrew Edson or somebody else who wanted to play at Washington when you're in high school in the state, and then you're like, well, now I'm going to take it out on them. So yeah, I think Boise's going to be massively motivated. I think Fresno's going to be motivated. I think Wyoming, all of them. For sure. That's why I'd be worried.
Well, I was just thinking about the schools that are left behind, like Boise State and Fresno State, they're coming in. But like if you're Utah State, like there's going to be a good reason for Utah State to want to beat us, other than just the normal reasons of wanting to win a football game.
The thing is, I would add UNLV and Utah State. I like Utah State.
I do too. Have you been to Logan? Logan's nice.
I've not been there. For they've always had good programs there. They've always had a good basketball program. I think
Bobby Wagner.
Bobby Wagner, yes. Bobby Wagner's been great. So, I'd be excited for those. I'd be more excited than again Tulane and.
Oh, I'd rather have Utah State than Tulane, and then Canzano would explain to me why that would be ridiculous, financially. But God, can we just? I understand how important money is, but can we kind of draw a limit on that? Have a geographical limit. I really don't. I mean, have you been to New Orleans?
I've never been there.
Okay, well, you're in your 40s now. It's more. I mean, I was there in my 20s, and I had a blast there in my 20s. I don't think I'm going to have a blast in New Orleans in my 60s, but it's not that appealing to me to go there. And what's so appealing about Memphis? What, the barbecue?
Barbecue, music, and all that.
Yeah, the blues. Yeah,
all of it.
Yeah, I don't know. Just I'd be happy going to Logan, but then I'd be happy living in Ritzville.
All of it. Stalling. I don't know where Divish is. He's the Divish is.
So what are you doing? Just killing time with me now?
Just killing time until
vamping. Is that what it's called? Is that still
Divish
called?
He was supposed to come on.
Wax?
He was supposed to. Oh yeah, that's a Chris Gay. He was supposed to come on. Then he went. I saw him there, and then he went away. So I don't know where Divish is. Anyone's seen him? Yeah. Maybe he's at the YMCA.
Well, I'm here for you, man. You want me to just hang around for a while? I don't have too much going on.
You don't? I want the house cleaner to come in at some point.
No, I got to go birthday shopping. It's Kathy's birthday tomorrow, so I got to make sure I, take care of that.
All right, I think he's finally here. Let's bring him on. Ryan Divish of the Seattle Times. Where were you? It took you so long? What do you got going on?
The Wi-Fi was a little unstable.
Oh, shocker.
So, that's how it is. I was at the Sumner Y, and now I'm sitting outside of the Sumner Y using the Wi-Fi, but it wasn't working great. So
yeah,
Sumner Y is nice.
Oh, it's very nice.
Yeah.
The odds of this happening without him falling off. What do you put the odds at, Jim, real quick?
No, he's not going to fall off.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look, Jim sounds like he's in a cave in Afghanistan, so I don't want to hear about my internet connection.
Is there any chance, like, when you quit, because I know you're going to quit at some point, because you always seem like so fed up with doing whatever you're doing. Like, is there any chance I could get your job? Because I would love to have a job where even when my team is in a pennant race, that I can, take the night off and go to a concert with Condota and Larry Stone.
Yeah,
That seems like a pretty good gig to have.
Well, I mean, I got a nice quality coworker in Adam Jude, who missed Friday and Saturday or Friday and Sunday, I guess because he thinks that his daughter's Sweet 16 is more important than working or coaching girls fast pitch. So, I mean, like.
Yeah, but Adam is the backup beat writer. You're the number one guy.
Yeah, you're the number one, Divish.
We don't think of backups at the Seattle Times. Everybody's equal, Jim. We're all inclusive in our beat writing. Adam's equal to me, and the Mariners like him better than me right now.
Well, I would think that they do. They have to like Jude more than they like you.
Oh, it's not really difficult. I mean, I'm not probably on the most popular person list within the front office right now.
No, why is that?
Well, you're not supposed to be, though.
Oh no, I know, but they don't. I know. I've never really been. I mean, it's usually once every couple of weeks I do something to anger them. Just reporting the Dipoto extension and stuff like that. There are some people that just weren't pleased about that. So,
well, how come they haven't come out and confirmed that yet?
Your guess is as good as mine. I've been told that they don't want to take away from the last 18, or at the point when I wrote it was like the last 20 games of the season. And also, they just want the timing to be right, and they don't want to distract from what Dan's doing. But if you think about it, after we reported that, have they talked about Jerry coming back anymore? Has there been a big
done anything?
No, they moved on. The news cycle moved on because they started playing games again. So, I mean, like, if they would have waited till the end of the season, then that's all that anybody marinates on is, oh God, they're bringing him back. And when really, like, you do it, you move on, you start playing games, focus on, whatever the hell Victor Robles was doing last night and go from there.
All right. We'll get into more baseball here with Ryan Divish. Jim, we'll let you go. Say hello to the housekeeper. Stay out of Devin's way, your neighbor.
Jim, I want to know, like, if we would have had a camera on you when Mateer ran it in on 3rd and 20 from 25 yards out, like if they could have had a dueling camera on Softy and on Jim on that play. I mean, like, everybody talks about the speed option play, which again, like Fish blaming the execution. Again, I don't care. People are talking about, he doesn't, they don't know who they are yet and everything. You have an identity of who you want to be. You run God's play. If you lose on God's play, you try to run it in, then you lose that way. But you go away from it on a soft play, I think is stupid. But the bigger loss was giving up that touchdown on 3rd and 20. You knew he was going to run it because, like, if they're not going to throw it and run the risk of an interception or something bad happening or a sack, they're going to run it because if he doesn't get it, then they're just going to kick the field goal. Like, how do you let him break the contain and run for 25 yards?
Oh, I don't think they were ever going to kick a field goal. Not with Janikowski.
Well, no, yeah, but Puck, that was the thing that, 3rd and 20, I'm thinking, okay, pick up 10. And yeah, Janikowski, no sure thing on field goals, missing, 9, he's 3 for his last 9 or something. Then he whiffed on that 26-yarder. So I wasn't excited about the field goal try.
Well, you knew they weren't going to throw it, not like anything risky. And the name Janikowski in that stadium just doesn't work, apparently.
No. Well, the good news is they've got Bill Belichick working for them, so they'll figure out all their defensive issues. All right, Jimbo, we'll talk to you on Friday, my friend.
Okay, see you guys.
There he is, Jim Moore, who joins us Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays here on the old radio. I was going to say radio program. I knew I was going to say that. Ryan Divish is joining us right now. It's brought to you by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, proudly serving the community since 1941. Located in Tacoma's historic Proctor District, Chalet Bowl has been family-owned and operated for 40 years, delivering top-notch customer service and a unique 12-lane experience. Check them out at chaletbowl.com to book your next reservation. All right, you're outside of a Sumner YMCA. You weren't covering the game last night. You were at a concert. The Victor Robles. You've seen the Victor Robles play.
Oh, we watched it too.
Yeah, I mean, What do you think Justin Turner is saying to himself when he's sitting up there and he sees, why are they throwing it home? Oh, you tried to steal home when the count was 3-0 and we've got the bases loaded?
Yeah, I'm thinking he's probably thinking, how the hell did I end up here? I'm wearing black pants and and I got a guy trying to make a little league play. And I'm like, so I've watched, I've been, Victor does kind of take like aggressive leads at third, and he's trying to time out the catcher. And if he sees the pitcher kind of dawdling with the ball and all this other stuff, or puts his head down and doesn't look. And in the old days when there wasn't a pitch clock, it probably could have been much easier because pitchers walk around and stuff. But like with the pitch clock, they're much more in tune to getting back on the rubber and going. So I understood kind of what he was reading, but that doesn't change the fact that the situation, it was bad. Like Luis Gil was all over the place. You don't need to give him an out on the bases because he was giving you free bases. It's 3-0. Have better feel. And I mean, that was one of the complaints when Robles was at the Nats, was just kind of his feel for the game, or his understanding of the game, and when to be aggressive, when not to be aggressive, things like that. But he'd been doing it so long. I mean, I think that's his first caught stealing as a member of the Mariners.
Yep.
So I mean, I saw what he was looking at, because I looked at the other angles. I like the all 22 version. I looked at the higher angle, and I've seen him like measuring that before. Like sometimes he takes some crazy leads from third too, just daring him to throw over.
Yeah.
But just time and place there, and do I think that if like he doesn't do that, they open up a big inning, maybe the game is different, maybe. But Brian Wu wasn't very sharp, and those guys are really good. So it just looked bad. It puts Dan Wilson in a tough spot, and I know you were complaining about Dan didn't say anything post game. He's not going to. Okay, if you think that Scott Service was protecting players and making sure that he doesn't air them out, Dan is going to be even airing them more on that side, because
that's just going to be his personality then.
For now. I mean, like Scott was like that for the very beginning, and then he started to loosen up and say more. He protected him until the point where he didn't feel like he should protect him anymore. I mean, you know how many times I referenced how bad Jesse Winker was defensively to him and why he was still playing, and it wasn't until like the last 20 games or 25 games of 2022 where he finally said something like. But that was also at the point where the pitchers were starting to get angry too. Robbie Ray, some of the relievers watching him out there. I mean, like I told Scott, I want him out there. I need the comedic relief.
Can you just put him out there so we can continue to write about him just falling?
Yeah, you remember when
Nori
Aoki used to jump every time they'd throw at him and catch him in the air? And he was hilarious in the outfield too. Like I need the entertainment, So used to. I mean, Daniel Kramer always have those replays right away because he works for MLB, and we just sit there and laugh and watch him over and over. So, no, I don't think Dan's going to be that guy. And if I was there, I don't know, like I would have said, well, maybe you could have pressed a little bit more, but I mean, what's there really to say? I'm sure that he's telling. I mean, I don't think you have to be an insider to know that Dan Wilson probably called Robles into his office and said, hey, this is the situation. This is why we don't do it. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
Because like he didn't really chastise Arozarena for any of that stuff that went down this weekend. But you know what? On Monday or on Tuesday before the game, Wilson and Arozarena were having a very serious conversation outside the batting tunnel. And, Dan was actually kind of pointing it to him. At one point, Arozarena, who I didn't think spoke English or understood it based on how difficult it is to talk to him, even was talking with Dan and said, he pointed to his head, like, I got to be smarter. It's basically, you could see what he was saying. So, I mean, I just don't think that's what Dan's going to do. I mean, Dan isn't saying a whole lot post game. I know some people have complained, but like this is new for him, and he's going to be very cautious about criticizing the players, and he's going to be very cautious on kind of doing anything that would like kind of trash Scott Service on the way out. He's not going to do that. That's not who he is.
I don't think anybody wanted him to trash, Scott Service. I just think the way that he handled it yesterday, I get it. Maybe this is just going to be who he is. I just think that it was an opportunity to be like, I think you can be critical of Robles and not just like torch the guy. No one's asking for him to just be like, be like us. That was an idiotic play. It was one of the dumbest plays I've ever seen. But I think a little bit more forceful of like, that's something to do with, to the degree of that's not how we play around here.
Yeah, like the Puck and Div Media Training Center that we told Dan, just like, hey, I understand why he was being aggressive. We don't want to take that away from him, but there's a time and place to be aggressive.
Yeah.
And that just wasn't the moment. I applaud the hustle, but in that situation again, we want to kind of let Justin Turner swing. That's all you have to say. But I mean, like in the moment after the game, I don't think that Dan's been schooled at this as much. I think it'll get better, but that's what you say is like, love the hustle, everything else, but that's not the play we want to make in that situation.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you absolutely nailed it. Is how I thought he probably should have.
Because even if
yesterday,
even if it was successful, let's say it was successful and everybody's going crazy and Victor's this and the two monkeys at home are going crazy for him and everything else. If I'm Dan Wilson, I'm coming out and say, yeah, it was a hustle play. It was a good read and stuff. But, in that situation, we still probably want to err on letting a guy that we went out and traded for to be a middle of the order presence to finish the count.
Yeah.
If the count is like, if it was 0-2 in the count, then I understand it, because you're thinking he might strike out. But if it's 3-0 and he'd walk guys to start, just all you have to just say is can't happen.
I just would love to know from someone like Turner who has come over from the Dodgers and won a World Series, all of that, man. It's just, I would love to know what he really thinks about this organization and just the way it's handled, especially coming from, he's been some, top flight organizations, right? I mean, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays, and how he would compare those experiences to the one he's going through right now with this team.
It's it's like, I think Tim Booth, there were some funny tweets afterwards because we're kind of you always look at Twitter after something happens to see who comes up with the most creative ways. So Tim Booth had a good one. It was like the most Mariner way to end a Mariners inning in a Mariners somehow.
Oh yeah, it just was. I mean, that play, and then Julio dropping the ball. It was just a craptastic evening. And then of course, with everybody winning, right? Houston wins, Minnesota wins, Detroit wins. You got no help, and now you got 11 games left in the season. And as we talk here on Wednesday, and you've got you're down 5 to Houston, and then you're down 3, but it's really 4 in the wild card races. I mean, yes, mathematically, do they still have hope? Are they still alive? But I mean, realistically, they're done, and it's just a matter of time before they're officially going to be put out of their misery.
Yeah, we all play the Powerball, but the odds of us making it, math is pretty hard, or winning it. The math for these guys doesn't work out. It would take a colossal implosion. Like, they needed the Astros to lose last night. And really, it's like that you've allowed yourself to get to this point is the indictment on the season, that you're at this point, again, considering where you're at and the type of pitching you've been getting, that you're at this point, whether it's under Scott or Dan. Because, under Dan, they lost some games to the Angels and A's that they just absolutely shouldn't have lost.
Right.
And, that's even, that's the problem. You've allowed yourself to get in this position after 162. And it's not, everybody says, oh, the losses in April, it's early, that they still matter. Yeah, it does. But it wasn't April that hurt them. It was from June till about August, whenever they let go of Scott, where they just, and man, it's crazy. You look at it now. I don't know, like, everybody wants to just credit Edgar. And I think that Edgar's helped certain guys. Other guys have gotten going. Other guys have kind of stayed the same. It's just like, I'm trying to figure out a way that it gets better next year without just internal improvement, because external improvement doesn't seem like it's going to be viable in a lot of ways.
Well, what if he doesn't come back?
Edgar, I don't expect him to come back.
So if he doesn't come back, like they've sat here and talked about how great he's been, and publicly it seems like he's getting all the credit for the offensive turnaround.
Well, from certain people.
Okay.
Publicly.
So, well, but it's the players. I mean, you got J.P. Crawford is doing an interview after a few games of him talking about this is the totally different plan. This is way better than we've been experiencing for the last 2 years.
And I'm just wondering if they're giving so much credit to one person, and if that one person doesn't want the job. You've said it. Brad Adams has said it doesn't really seem like he wants to do this full time. If they don't bring him back, then are we just right back to square one again with this offense and their hitting approach? It's not all just Edgar, number one.
Well, what Edgar's done is he took away some of the team approach aspect that they were trying to push. I mean, and this is something the Dodgers did, and this is something like other people do. It's like the team approach where everybody kind of follows a similar approach because the pitchers show certain weaknesses where you can, kind of gang up on them. They call it 9 versus 1 or all this other stuff. But what Edgar did, it was like, look, not everybody hits the same. Not everybody has the same strengths and weaknesses. Not everybody should just focus on whatever the pitcher's doing. Right. Here's what you do well. Simplify it to that way. And I think to me, it's like, it's kind of strange too. It's like, yeah, that's great. Like all that, if you're a hitter, but I'm almost certain, like, if they're still up there going, well, I don't hit this well, I'm still going to look for this. Like, it's still your own at bat. Just because they have a meeting that says, this is our team approach, it's not like they're benching Julio because he didn't do that. I think Julio made a mechanical adjustment that people, we've kind of written about. Edgar got him to move his hands back a little bit. They've been trying to get him to do that before. He didn't do it. He kind of been stubborn to what he felt was right. He did it. And then, he had success. I think that's part of it. So I don't, I think Edgar has been great because I think it's a calming influence, and it's just simplifying it to be like, hey man, look, this isn't working. So just do what you think. Here's what we think you do best.
Yeah.
You do what you think is best. So the way you probably get him back, because he's got all the money he needs, you just go hire about 2 more hitting coaches to help him so he's not putting in 50 hours a day in a 24-hour day. That's the problem. He didn't want to sit there and be there all day. The travel's a grind. Right. He didn't want to do any of that stuff. And so it's like, that's where he doesn't want to do.
You're a good buddy. Bill Krueger's not the biggest fan of Randy Arozarena, and I'd asked him yesterday, would you want Arozarena back? And he's like, no, I don't want him back. I just don't like, and his point is that he's just kind of, when things are going great, for him, then he's, he's all rah guy. When it's not going good, he's not, he didn't use malcontent, but he's, he kind of pouts. You and I, we've talked about this before. At times, to me, he looks like a guy who does not want to be here. And you're around him much more than I am. And you've even said it, that, yeah, he gives off the vibe that he doesn't want to be here. What do you think they're going to do in the offseason with him?
Yeah, I would use the word mercurial.
Okay.
Word of the day. Hanging out with Larry Stone last night, you get those kind of big words. Mercurial. Good. But he's up and down a little bit personality-wise. I mean, I don't think he's like a powder. I don't think he's like a, I don't think he's not try-hard guy. He just has weird body language sometimes. And, maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. I think he plays hard. He just does some stuff. Like, they call it Randy Land for a reason. And he just does some stuff. I mean, like, and like, because he's so demonstrative at times, then it looks really different when it's not.
Yeah.
When he's not, because he is. So it's like, and I don't know. I mean, like, honestly, like, the way Robles plays, I don't know how you'd carry that for 162 unless you're just pumping Celsius into your veins and, like, Zins, like the 60 mig Zins and some Celsius, just running around, but no, I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know what they're going to do because it's not, I mean, like, part of it is money and where they're at financially. Do they want to spend $12 million on him next year?
Is that where you think he jumps? Because it was 8 this year. Do you think it jumps to 12?
I mean, yeah, I would think it's half, half of what he made, because, like, it's, the numbers aren't great, but he's still put it together a 2020 season, and he doesn't go on the IL. Like, he plays. Volume matters in arbitration. So, yeah, I don't see him going down. I don't see him doubling, but $12 million, basically what will cost Polanco, the option on Polanco, which you're not picking up. Right. He seems to age. He seems to be doing aging like the reverse Benjamin Buttons, just like aging faster and faster.
And has yet to blink one time this season.
Not
one time has he blinked. It's just, I mean, I can't. My wife, she pointed that out like early on. He goes, he does not blink, and then I'm just every time I watch it now, I'm fixated on just blink, just something. Just blink one time, please.
Maybe he
Creeps
blinks
me out.
when he swings and misses.
Yeah, he probably right.
What no, I don't like. That's the thing. They have to make a decision on Randy, what you want to do with him.
Yeah.
You know, $12.5 million. I think either way, you have to tender it, because like some people say, oh, you just non-tender him. No, you gave up 2 real prospects to get him.
Yeah.
You tender him, and you figure out what you're gonna. You negotiate the ARB deal, and if you decide, look, okay, we're gonna pay him $12.5 million or whatever, this doesn't really fit what we want. We need to go get something more, or you can package him with a pitcher. You know what? Like that's what, and it's such bad like business logistics to do it. But like the idea of having to package good players with people you're trying to cut salary from, that's just not what you want to do. It's like cutting salary for the sake of cutting it. Like you made the mistake, you signed it, eat it, you still got to invest, because like that's the problem with like the double Mitchwich. They're 26 million or something like that.
The double Mitchwich, I love it.
Yeah, so like they
Fish witch.
They gotta. What are they gonna do? One of those guys, they probably have to cut one of them, right?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. That what are they going to do?
I mean, Haniger's barely played in like 2
I know.
weeks.
Yeah, he didn't play at all.
And it's weird, because I always thought he gave you a better competitive at bat than Garver does, but like Garver gets his at bats because he has to catch every so often. I mean, like they went a whole day without playing Cal Raleigh. I was making fun of Cal because he didn't know what to do. He's like wandering around the dugout and slapping people and flopping his arms around like an 8. When you have the kids on the fighting green potatoes or whatever they are, when the kids that are on the bench, they don't sit still, they're just bouncing around, hitting the fence. That's what Cal was the other day. Yeah. So I don't know, like that's a weird spot that they're in. Like, how do you construct a roster when like you've already probably got about 90 million committed in guaranteed contracts, and then you still haven't paid your ARB guys yet, and you're probably not going to be able to go up a whole lot. From everything it sounds like, any increase to the payroll will be based on the payroll inflation of what these guys are going up, because like I can't see them, and I don't know what they're at right now, but I can't see them adding 15 or 20 million to a payroll when they didn't do it last year.
Hey, do you have an update? We haven't talked about this in a while. You have an update at all about what their TV situation is going to be next season?
So from the last time I talked to people in the organization, when they were talking to me, was
so that, have they told you we're not talking to you anymore? You're out.
No. I haven't got frozen out yet.
Did they like when you say, "Hey, the Mariners could fuck up a cup of coffee"? Did they enjoy that line?
I've heard several people mention that, but nobody's brought that up to me.
Okay.
I didn't get the Randy Adamek. Randy Adamek here. I just want to talk to you about something you said on the podcast.
I love when Randy. Hey, Puck, or hey Ryan, hey, just give me a quick shout when you get a second. I want to go over something.
I just want to clarify from where we're sitting at over here, because we just don't think that maybe you understand.
He's just doing his job, and he's the best at it.
He's the nicest, most gentle human being ever.
Yeah, he was. Shout out to Randy Adamek.
Yeah. So no, I think they're from what John, and like this is what conversation we had with John Staton, I think when we wrote that last update, they're willing to go it alone like they did this year, and do it on their own next year. They have everything set up for themselves to do that if there's not another option viable. Like if there isn't, if the Bally situation isn't handled properly, or they get any more clarification from Major League Baseball about how that's going to go, like if they want to produce the games. Well, I think they found with having MLB produce the games is that it's very bare bones, and then like all your advertising dollars that you get are just strictly through, and it's kind of like the local advertising aspect. Yeah. And then like all their in-house ads, where Piper or Jen is at some concession stand, then talking about what's coming up, what games are coming, or what bobbleheads or whatever promotion they're doing, or the Rick Griffin prostate cancer one that I've seen 10 million times, or the people from Fred Hutch, the one doctor who doesn't blink either in the commercial.
Yeah, he doesn't blink.
There's there's a doctor that I think it's the woman doctor who doesn't really blink either in one of those commercials. So that all those in-house ads that they are important for them, so helps generate interest in their projects, and some of them are great projects too. Like I think like doing stuff for Fred Hutch and all those, you want that out there. I don't think you get that if you have MLB producing it. So that's what they're weighing here, and I don't, I think not to reference like Chris Stapleton lyrics, but I don't think Amazon's riding in on the white horse to save them. So it's an interesting situation there. And I think my guess is they'll probably just go it alone next year with what they're doing this year. So, that means we'll have more Top Step podcasts where I can get on there. So I'm hoping to get on with.
Can you limit the terms of the, can you limit how many times you go on it?
All right, we'll see. I want to get on You Cook, I Measure with Jen,
I want to go on there too.
I just want to measure drinks out. Like I'll just be pouring like drinks. Just get Jen bombed while she's trying to cook something. Like, hey, I want you to make some corn dogs. And I'm gonna just feed you bourbon.
Yeah, and we're just and some chicken nuggets, and we're just gonna start opening up the pantry doors to see what's in there because there's nothing in there. I don't like it.
I would go Swedish Chef from the Muppets.
All right, you're the best. We'll cut you loose. Ryan Divish, he joins us every Wednesday talking Mariners baseball, and it's winding down. We're gonna have to figure out some off-season plans.
We'll figure something out.
All right, we got to do something. We'll talk Montana football. You got a real big
advice, maybe.
You got a real big game this week in Western Carolina. Good luck with that.
They're actually decent. So,
are they?
Also, shout out to the guys at Band of Heathens and Hayes Carl, the Crocodile. Crocodile was great last night.
They redid it, right? It's new, right?
Yeah,
it has been for a couple of years.
Yeah, the great sound in there. It was an awesome show. The keyboardist for Band of Heathens, Bellarmine Prep grad.
All right.
And so he emailed me. He's a big Sonics, Mariners, and Seahawks fan. Emailed me, sent me and Larry some tickets. So thanks to Trevor.
That?
It was a great show. I mean, it's great. As my buddy Brian pointed out, you're the only minority in here. And I was like, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Because it was the whitest, and it was just a bunch of Larry Stones standing there.
Really?
Yeah, like a lot of old white dudes. Because it's Hayes Carl, man, It's and he didn't even play She Left Me for Jesus, which, I think is my favorite.
That's what you were there for.
Yeah, but he played a lot of good stuff. It was a great show. I mean, honestly, it was love live music. Condota was bobbing back and forth.
A hoodie on, or yes or no?
Hoodie, hoodie and cargos.
Okay.
He's wearing he's wearing a Dino's Pub hoodie because the new owner of Dino's, Corey, gave Bob a hoodie because he eats every meal in there.
Good for him. He's finished his plate. All right. Ryan Divish, brought to you by Chalet Bowl, Washington's oldest operating bowling alley, proudly serving the community since 1941. They are located in Tacoma's historic Proctor District, family owned and operated for 40 years. Visit chaletbowl.com to book your next reservation experience. The best in local fun. In case you missed this, it'll be up on YouTube. Also a little bit later, and Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcasts, and of course up at PuckSports.com. All right, Ryan, we'll talk to you next week. Thank you, sir.
Sounds good. See you.
Yeah, there he is, Ryan Divish, joining us in Sumner outside AY. We go from baseballs. We're getting close to wrapping up the Daily Puck Drop. We talk a little football right now with the great Danny Kelly from The Ringer. He's a senior staff writer. Ringer Fantasy Football Show, the Ringer NFL Draft Show. It's all Ringer. It's all Danny Kelly. You can follow him on X at Danny B. Kelly. His weekly visit brought to you by Georgetown Brewery, locally owned and operated by two diehard Huskies. Their names, Manny and Roger. They've been pouring the best local craft beer for the past 23 years, makers of Manny's Pale Ale, Bodie's Off IPA. Tap room open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. Visit them, georgetownbeer.com. How are you, sir?
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing?
Doing great. What's the B? What's that hat?
Bellingham Bells. It's like a minor league team up here.
Sure. Yeah. You're up in Bellingham. Have you always been in Bellingham?
No, I was in Seattle for like 15, 16 years. I've been kind of back and forth. I grew up in Bellingham, but I'm back here now.
Yeah, you up there with the granolas. You're a hippie. People don't know that about you.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. Danny Kelly, he joins us every Tuesday, or excuse me, every Wednesday as we talk football storylines, all the top storylines around the NFL, and of course fantasy football as well. Sneak them in. YouTube chat room. If you want a fantasy football question, I'll try to sneak in a few here for you. If you have any questions there for Dan, he's an expert in fantasy football, okay? Not like me, whose team's terrible, who thought it was a good idea to draft Derrick Henry for some reason, thinking, well, it's Baltimore. They're going to run the ball. And Derrick Henry's terrible. All of the token Chiefs season it's 2 games in, done. Already done. Season over, and once again will not be in the playoffs. For those who don't remember, Danny and I, we used to do a podcast 15 years ago called Field Goals, or the 12th Man podcast.
Yeah, the 12th Man
12th Man podcast by when Danny was working there for Field Goals. Let's jump into it. I want to start with something that I saw on your Twitter feed.
Okay.
About the scoring. I know it's only 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay, but we like to overreact on this.
I love overreacting.
Yeah, well, that's the best thing about doing this job is overreacting to everything. The scoring down the NFL, 21.4 points per game. If it holds, as you wrote, it would be the lowest since 2006. And then on top of that, there was another stat you had in there about passing.
Yeah.
Through the first 2 weeks, 300-yard passing games. Through the first 2 weeks, there was 5. Last year at the same time, there was 15.
Yeah.
So why is this? Is there a reason for this? Is it just one of those things? Why is scoring down? Why is passing down?
Well, I think there's like 5 or 6 different variables that kind of like a confluence of events here that are like pulling offense down essentially in the NFL. Number one, I think the obvious thing is like teams don't really play their starters in the preseason anymore. So a lot of these guys are coming in super rusty, not really quite ready. I think as season goes on, the offenses will get a little bit better. But like big picture, we've had a whole bunch of like Hall of Fame caliber quarterbacks kind of age out and retire over the last few years. And I think the NFL has struggled to, replace those guys with high level quality quarterbacks. Basically, there's no middle class or very, very small middle class at quarterback right now. I mean, you're seeing guys like, I would say, Jared Goff, Geno, Baker Mayfield, Darnold is maybe going to come and start to be part of that group. Like there's a small cadre of guys that are sort of what you consider the middle class, the guys that are making like middle class, salaries and still pretty good, but not like elite quarterbacks. That group used to be a lot bigger, I think, because the NFL, generally speaking, was a lot more patient in developing their guys. And now it's just like, we got these guys on the rookie contracts. We have to take advantage of this. So we're bringing in these very young players and quarterbacks and asking them to carry our offense, even though they have no experience. And turns out it's really, really difficult to be a quarterback in the NFL. There's just a million things that you have to do. And that's before, there's a million things you have to do before the ball is even snapped. There was a great example of this last week. My buddy Nate Tice tweeted out like a video of just Bo Nix in the in the huddle trying to get the play call communicated to the team. It took him like 20 seconds. And it's like, that alone is hard. And then think about the 30 other things you have to do before the ball is even snapped in terms of like trying to figure out what the defense is doing. So I think it's like a quarterback issue. The kickers are better than ever right now. There actually was more field goals through 2 weeks this year than ever before. Like the NFL is turning into a field goal sport, which is obviously no one wants that. Why would we want that? There's more accurate kickers from 50 yards away than ever before. So
all I can think of is our mutual friend Michael Sean Dugar, who hates kickers more than anyone.
Just take them. I honestly would be fine if kickers were like, just figure it out. We'll do without kickers.
Eliminate them from good, because then we can eliminate this stupid kickoff.
Yeah, I mean the kickoff thing is the other thing. Is
so dumb.
So scoring was way down last year. This is a major issue. Every time that happens, the NFL gets together in the offseason. Is like, okay, we need scoring to go back up. So I think that was part of the reason they did this kickoff. But and in theory, if the kickoff worked, if basically the teams were doing what the NFL thought they would be doing, which was like actually kicking off to teams, I think scoring would go up because of the field position. But teams are far and away mostly just kicking it back and taking the the touchback. So it's I think offense will get better, but right now, I mean, this is like some of the worst offense we've ever seen. You mentioned the points per game is 21.4 points per game. Like that's lowest since 2006. The touchdowns per game are like truly one of the lowest I've ever seen. The most recent we've seen in terms of team touchdowns per game is 1992, and after that it's all like 1940s and 1930s. Like this is like the worst offense we've seen by a lot through 2 games. So, it's a little bit concerning. I think it will get better, but it is concerning.
What'd you think of the speaking of offense, the offensive performance last week from the Seahawks? I mean, Geno Smith's been pretty good through the first 2 weeks, but we saw something last week, Danny, that we just haven't seen in a while. 30 combined targets for DK Metcalf and Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, I don't know when the last time they've had 2 wide receivers with 30 targets. And I know it's part of the game plan because they didn't have Ken Walker and they wanted to pass the ball more. But man, it was just they just seemed like in that game, they barely scratching the surface of what they can be offensively in that passing game, what they showed last week against the Patriots.
Yeah, and I think, the big picture sort of outlook on what they did in that game is it was refreshing because in a way, I mean, obviously it's not going to work every week, but it was refreshing. And this is something that like Bill Belichick has done over the years, like, being like flexible to play the type of game that is best for your individual opponents. Like I feel like for the Pete Carroll era, and obviously it was a huge success over the long term, but for the Pete Carroll era, it was like, we're going to do our thing, we're going to do our identity, and we're going to stick with it no matter what. Like even if it gets really ugly and really hard, we're going to run the ball, we're going to establish it, be balanced, blah blah blah. Like in this game, the run game was not working. Like Charbonnet could not get anything going. I think he had one of the lowest success rates as a runner in the NFL this week. It was like 14%. That's awful. So they abandoned the run, and I actually appreciate that. They're like, you know what? We're just going to be more successful passing the football. Geno Smith like spread them out. Was finding like his targets really consistently. JSN was like hitting the easy button on so many plays. It was awesome to see that. And so it felt refreshing from that point of view where it's like, okay, the run game's not working. Let's go to something that's working.
And it was great, and it worked. I mean, they were able to. It just felt like Grubb was in lockstep with what they wanted to do offensively, just in terms of we've got 2 guys out there right now. There are going to be matchup problems, and then I liked it. They moved DK around.
Yeah,
it wasn't just running the same routes that they always run, and it was just there was a thought process to it, right? There was let's put him on the left side, let's put him on the right side, let's put him in the slot, let's put him in motion.
Mm-hmm.
Just something we didn't see from Shane Waldron and even. Schottenheimer and all the other offensive coordinators they've had in the last few years.
And this is a good secondary for New England. Like, so the fact that they were able to do that against a really good secondary is super encouraging. I thought Geno Smith was like close to perfect in this game.
It's great.
So yeah, really good signal. Obviously that you'd like to have the run game be a little bit better, but that was even before the game coming in. It was like, that's a really good run defense. We're probably gonna have to pass more than we usually do. And they did it, and they were able to move the ball. I said this already, but I loved how they had some like easy button plays to just get the ball moving, like, stay on pace or whatever, stay on
script.
Right.
Is that what they always say? Is that the cliche, right? Yeah.
Yeah, stay on schedule is the word I was looking for. It's basically like, you're not getting yourself into 3rd and longs every time, like it felt like the Seahawks have done over the last like 10 years. So yeah, very encouraging. Obviously, and this is another game where you're on the East Coast, early game against a good defense. So typically this is the type of game the Seahawks will lose, I feel like. But they came through in the end.
There was 2 plays in there, Danny, and then we'll move on off the 6. There was 2 plays that they did, and I don't think they executed. I don't think they got the first down on either of the plays. But it just showed me in a glimpse into McDonald and Grubb. Is they had 3rd and 15 or something like 3rd and 15 and a 3rd and 18.
Mm-hmm.
And they actually tried to get the first down.
Yeah.
Don't
you love that?
Yes, I did. They didn't run the ball.
Yeah,
they didn't run a draw. They didn't run like a screen. They tried to actually get it. If that's Pete Carroll and Waldron or Schottenheimer, you know what they're doing. They're going to hand it off.
Yep. Yeah.
And we're going to play field position. We'll punt it away and we'll let our defense do the work. I'd like they were just, what? F that. We're going to be aggressive. We're going to try to pick it up.
Yep. I absolutely love that. That's, and the aggressive mentality, I think, is showing, and the players react to that. The players kind of feed off that, I think. So yeah, I mean, again, all great signals. They were going against the Seahawks been lucky to go against like 2 pretty bad quarterbacks so far. So the test, will be later on in the season when they face really good quarterbacks. But I have so many reasons. I'm just like really happy with how everything is going.
It's crazy how it's shaking out for them, because they're really not going to see anybody until, they get Jared Goff the week after this, right? And then they get the Giants. That's terrible. And then they'll get Brock Purdy
with San Francisco. But I mean, I guess they get lucky because of the injury to Tua.
Yep.
So they get Skylar Thompson coming up this week, but it leads us into Tua's health. I mean, that I knew that was going to be the storyline. You know, once he got it, was immediately, should he retire? Should he retire? Should he retire? I do wonder how much of that does go through, you know, the thought process for him. And of course, he wants to play, Danny.
Mm-hmm.
He does. Every player wants to play, but it's, you know, sometimes you need somebody else to make the decision for you.
Right. And it's good. I mean, in this particular case, like, it's good that they put him on an IR. So I think they're not like tempted to let him come back sooner than he should and like go through the whole process and figure this out. There's no like huge rush. Obviously, there's an immense amount of pressure on every quarterback to like come back quickly. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think you're right. It's like he needs to take the time to really figure this out because this is like his health long term. This is really scary stuff.
Yeah. If you're on the YouTube chat, if you want a fantasy football question for Danny, just type it in there on the YouTube stream. Go there now, PuckSports. If you're not watching, if you want to leave the Twitter view and go over to YouTube, you can throw in a question there, and we'll get it for you. There's a couple in there that we'll get to here in a quick second. Bryce Young. What's going on? I mean, you had the Mel Kiper rant yesterday. I thought he made some good points. Listen, if you're going to establish a new offense and a new culture, maybe you should play a little bit more there. But before that, right, Danny, there were doubts about this guy as a quarterback at the professional level. I mean, there was always going to be one that wasn't going to work out. You know, he's feeling probably the pressure to watch CJ Stroud be such a hit right now in the league.
Yep.
Where does Bryce Young go from here?
I mean, I think he has to at this point look at the long game. You know, you see guys like I mentioned before, Geno, Darnold, Goff is another example who like was really, really bad early on in his career. Baker Mayfield. I think he has got to take the long view and be like, look, I gotta at this point try and be a backup, try and like do as much you can to like, you know, be really, really sharp with all like the stuff that you can be in like mentally in terms of the game, like the playbooks, studying defenses, all that stuff. Like basically look at the long view because I don't think they're going to bring him back this year unless you see Dalton get hurt or something like that. But yeah, I mean at this point he's at a real crossroads because his career could be over. But I think he has to look at it like, look, when I get my next chance at some point down the line, if I do get another chance, I have to be able to be ready. But I mean, like honestly, he may never get another chance. Like you remember Josh Rosen, like he was really, really bad. Yeah, and he basically, you know, he got traded. I think they traded him for like a second rounder. He never really did anything with his new team, and then he was done. And so the NFL is not super patient with these guys, even if you're the top pick. And he's just really never shown anything. I don't think he's really flashed at all. No. Is the problem. And he's had, you know, 17, 18 games or whatever it is that he's played, 16, 17 games. And there's been almost nothing to like hang your hat on in terms of like, oh, he could develop.
Yeah. And we've talked about that. I think we've talked about this before, and it's an obvious point. It's just so important where you go for these quarterbacks, especially when you got to play early on. You know, it's if you go to the wrong situation, it absolutely can stunt your career. I mean, I think that's the worry right now that I think Bears fans are going to have with Caleb Williams. Yeah. He's immensely talented. The problem is Shane Waldron's his offensive coordinator.
I know. I still don't really understand. Maybe did I ask you this last podcast? Like, I don't understand why they decided they wanted to go get Shane Waldron of all people.
And
the Seahawks literally were just like, all right, see you later. Like, go for it. You know,
think anybody knows. And then you've got a coach who was on the ropes last year, will no doubt be on the ropes again this year. And so, you know, let's say they make a move, then he's going to be, you know, second year in the league, you know, maybe on a new head coach, another new offensive coordinator, and just, he keeps it a revolving door. It's like
it's a vicious cycle. Yeah,
it is. And so it's just so important where you go and where you land and the right coach and the right situation. And I know maybe talent can supersede all that kind of stuff, but you know, I always just think back to the Patrick Mahomes example, just because he just went to the absolute perfect coach, didn't have to play right away. And, you know, maybe there's some talent there in Bryce Young, but I don't know. It just, it doesn't feel like it's ever going to work out in Carolina. And then you wonder, like when Canales took the job, did Canales even like him?
I know. It felt like he was hired to fix Bryce Young.
Right.
And I think that was sort of like the big picture look at it. But, you know, David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, has never been super patient person. I think like that's like the mark of his ownership of the team is like bold, rash decisions, bold, rash moves. Depending on the way you look at it, good, like that's good or bad. And so I think after the way they started, they were basically DOA, and their offense has done absolutely nothing. It's been the worst offense by far. And I think he was essentially like, look, this is not working at all. Like, there's no difference. In fact, he looks worse than he did last year.
Yeah.
And I think he just pulled the plug on it. I think the other point I wanted to mention real quick with Caleb Williams is like, we talked about this during the offseason. Like, he actually did land in what we thought was like a really good situation for a rookie quarterback, a top pick, because he has like these talented receivers. He has, they did a lot over the last couple of years to like bolster their offense. But the first 2 weeks of the season, Keenan Allen's hurt, Rome Odunze's hurt. Their offensive line is much, much worse, I think, than people were expecting. Much worse. He was pressured on like all but one of his dropbacks in that Monday night game. He's getting rid of the ball quickly too. It's not like he's holding on to the ball too long, or like Justin Fields. The thing with him was like he holds onto the ball and doesn't process. Like Caleb Williams was getting rid of the ball. He just had absolutely no time to do anything.
He's got a good defense too. That was another thing. It was probably a check mark that why that maybe I think a lot of people thought they would have a good season.
Yeah, and the defense is really good. I think that the offense, if they can get healthy, if Keenan Allen can come back, if Rome Odunze can get a little bit more healthy, because you could tell he was hobbling around in that last game. So I still have hope for Caleb Williams, obviously, but I think the situation we thought he was coming into has like almost immediately disintegrated. So.
Will Russell Wilson ever start again?
That's a really good question. I think yes, but I think it's going to take Justin Fields either getting hurt or completely falling apart, which I don't think he will. He's looked pretty good, honestly. Like, this system I think Arthur Smith is running is like pretty good for him. It doesn't ask him to do too much. Gets him outside the pocket, running around, like make a couple of big throws make a couple big throws a game, and we'll have the defense take care of the rest. I don't think the Steelers are particularly good, but I think that they play that type of ball that we've seen from the Seahawks over the years, where they drag their opponents down into the mud and limit the possessions and hope their defense can kind of just come out on top. And I think Justin Fields is much more dynamic than Russell Wilson would be able to be. So right now they're winning, and there's no reason for the Steelers to go back to him. If he falls apart and loses a couple games, then I think he will get back in there. Ultimately, I would guess Wilson starts a couple games this year at least.
Belichick, do you think Belichick wants to coach the Eagles or the Cowboys next year? What do you think? Which job do you think he wants?
That's a great question. I don't think he would. I don't think he would want to work for Jerry Jones. Do you?
Well, no. I mean, he'd have to be like, you can't make you can't make personnel decisions. I've got to run it all.
Yeah, I don't think Jerry Jones would hire Belichick, even though like it would be in his best interest.
Too much of a massive
ego.
Too
much ego. I think Jerry Jones wants his coach to be sort of like he wants to play puppet master to the coach. So I would say the Eagles probably.
And then I wonder, does Howie Roseman want that?
I know. That's a great question.
He's very good at what he does. And I don't think he wants somebody coming in there telling him, no, we need to do this. We need to do that.
This is exactly why Belichick doesn't have a job right now. It's like, there's egos involved. There are personnel, big picture personnel. Like, a team would have to give Belichick pretty much like carte blanche to do whatever he wants, I think, for him to take it. And so even though he's the greatest coach of all time, I think pretty undisputed at that, teams are like afraid to like give him too much power at this point. It's a weird dynamic.
All right, quickly, some fantasy football questions from the YouTube chat room. Ricardo wants to know, what do you think about Atlanta's wide receivers? Thinking about picking up Mooney?
I mean, I would still be pretty concerned about the Atlanta offense in general. I think, they did look a little bit better this last week than they did the week before. But Kirk Cousins still not moving around all that much.
Yeah, he's held off Penix for at least one more week.
Yeah, I would say I probably would look elsewhere. I don't know. Mooney to me seems like he's going to be a highly volatile guy. He did have 16 points in this last game, but the week before that, 1 catch. I think it's going to be a lot of that because he's sort of like their deep threat guy. I think he probably could do better, but
Joel wants to know, do you stay away from Carolina's wide receivers now that the Red Rifle's in there, or do you jump on it since he is in there?
I tend to think this is a good buy low opportunity, especially for a guy like Deontay Johnson, who is now going to have a veteran quarterback who can feed him. And Deontay Johnson's always been kind of like that short and intermediate area, get open quickly, give his quarterback a guy who can get rid of the ball quickly and kind of just like move the chains. I think Deontay Johnson could be the type of guy who immediately benefits from this. Maybe people are kind of already on that train, but Deontay Johnson and the other old veteran guy whose name is escaping me, Adam Thielen.
Thielen.
Those two guys could be definitely like buy low candidates right now.
Joel wants, or not Joel, but Dan wants to know if he's still around. I mean, I would assume he'd be picked up, but I don't know. Geno Smith. Yeah, I would say yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think especially if the Seahawks continue to sort of take the tack where if their run game's not working, they're going to pass the heck out of the ball, then yes, I think absolutely. Again, Geno Smith was like almost perfect in this last game. Really, if you go back to outside of that first throw he made in the season, he's been pretty dang good. Like almost all good decisions. He's made some incredible throws. I think the touchdowns are going to continue. They're just going to continue to increase. And again, like I said, as long as Kenneth Walker is out, I think they're going to lean on Geno. So he's definitely good value.
The token Chiefs trying to snap it. They're 0-2, looking for their first victory of the season. So we need Dak Prescott to pick it up. Yeah. We need A-Chain to pick it up. Maybe a Devontae Smith, Garrett Wilson, the Gus bus to get going.
Honestly, the Gus bus thing probably not the best, but I like that squad. The rest of the squad's really good. Devontae Smith's gonna eat while AJ Brown's out.
Yeah, come
Devon
on.
Achane, I think he's like top 3 running back right now. Like he's really good.
Cowboys defense get a little bit more out of you. Cowboys defense.
Yeah, what I don't know what that game with the Saints was. I don't know where that came from. Honestly, that was wild.
It was unbelievable how bad that was. That was just like, that was awful.
Yeah, I seriously I don't think anyone saw that one coming. That was like maybe the wildest, like in terms of the season so far, like the wildest story so far is what the Saints are doing on offense.
There it is. Again, you can we'll do this at the end of every show there with Dan. You can lob in a question there on the YouTube chat. Also, you can maybe email it at puck@pucksports.com. Puck2040 there on Twitter. I want to say X, but it just saying X sounds so dumb.
I'm not doing it.
Twitter. Follow Danny on Twitter at Danny B. Kelly as well. Danny Kelly joins us every single Wednesday, senior staff writer, Ringer Fantasy Football Show, the Ringer NFL Draft Show. It's all brought to you by Georgetown Brewery. Go visit georgetownbeer.com. Tap room is open right now from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week. Click on that little QR code when you're watching. It's going to take you right to the fabulous website. In case you missed it, this will be up on YouTube. You can also listen to it, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find your podcast, and of course at PuckSports.com. All right, Danny, enjoy Bellingham. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, sounds good, man.
There he is, Danny B. Kelly from The Ringer, talking all things NFL and, of course, fantasy football every single week here on PuckSports.com. All right, we wrap up every single daily puck drop with Hey, What the Puck? It's brought to you by Restoration One of North Seattle. Your restoration company lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage with their property restoration services. Locally owned and operated. Make them your first call when damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com, the North Seattle franchise. And again, that QR code, if you snap that, it's going to take you right to restoration1.com. The Wedgwood broiler is done. Raise your hand right now if you've ever been to the Wedgwood broiler. And it is a staple in Seattle, an absolute legendary spot. If you never went, you're never going to get a chance to go. It had a fire last. It was going to close here eventually, like pretty soon. Because of course, in Seattle, we can't have nice things, and we can't have bars and restaurants and places that we all like to visit, stay around, because property owners have to sell it because they want to build more condos, and that's exactly what's going to happen to the spot where Wedgwood broiler was sitting on. They're going to sell it, and they did sell it. They were going to demolish it here coming up soon, but it was still open until last week. It suffered massive fire damage. And so it's likely done. It wouldn't be worth it to reopen it after all the fire, smoke, and water damage. It's just a real sad thing. I mean, and it's sad because a lot of these places in Seattle, particularly, are going away, and there's not much history or heritage left. In a place like Wedgwood broiler was, those places are getting fewer and fewer. The landscape of our city has changed a bunch, good and bad. People have moved in, right? Your property value, if you live it here, is gone way up and all that. But it has changed kind of the fabric of it a lot, and the community a lot, and the number of people who aren't from here anymore. And I don't mean to sound like that, but, they don't have an appreciation for something like that. And so I think when you don't, it kind of gets lost a little bit. and thus establishments like Wedgwood Broiler, it's been around forever, go away. But a meeting place for so many people. I mean, God, if you're a Husky fan watching this, listening to this, I mean, how many times have you gone to the Wedgwood Broiler after a game because you don't want to fight traffic anymore? You go in that bar that is the best damn bar, just in terms of ambiance that you can ever go to. Dark, big back, thick chairs, leather chairs. It's always dim in there. You got like Christmas lights up there. It's just one of the biggest, great little martini action. The food, the prime rib special, the baked potato, the prime rib sandwich, the Reuben, the captain's plate, and everything on your plate fried of seafood. The salads that had Cheez-Its on them. I mean, what place do you get a prime rib, a baked potato, a salad with Cheez-Its on it, and then a martini? The Wedgwood Broiler, that's where you get it. The best popcorn in the world there at Wedgwood Broiler. Just great cocktails. The smell, the chairs, the booth, the history, the best, absolute best. Last time I was in there, back when the Cougs beat Arizona, we're sitting in there, and a mom and daughter were in there, and they drove all the way up from Tacoma because the daughter lives down there. She was teaching down there, and the mom was visiting from out of town, visiting from California, and she just wanted to go to the Wedgwood Broiler. So they drove the 45 miles up just to go there on a Thursday night. So just a legendary spot that's going away. And it's sad because they're all kind of going away. There's not many of these legendary spots around anymore, and it sucks. They're all, whether it's a bar or restaurant, it's just, and I get it. People are running them, and they're getting older, and they don't want to deal with it anymore. Maybe the kids don't want to take it over. So it's just sad. Shout out to the people who run Wedgwood Broiler, who work there. If you've been there, just thank you for the many, many years of just great memories, great food, great drinks, all of it. All right, that's it for Hey What the Puck. It's brought to you again by Restoration One of North Seattle. Your restoration company lets you avoid the stress of water, fire, and mold damage. Make them your first call when damages affect your residential or commercial property. 206-817-8917. Visit them online at restoration1.com. That's it for a Wednesday. We went long. Big thanks to Jim, who is again on every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Ryan Divish. And, of course, Danny Kelly. For you Coug fans, you want to rev a little bit more in the Apple Cup, our Old Crimson podcast with myself, Jim Moore, Paul Sorensen, and a quick visit from Jamie Vinnick of Coug Fan, who joins us every week for about 10 minutes or so, giving us a practice report. That is up right now on all the platforms, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, PuckSports.com, as is the Cougs Corner podcast. And this week's guest is Kyle Thornton. Of course, I made the big play there in the Apple Cup there on fourth down. It's a great visit with Kyle. Awesome dude, real great personality. It was a fun chat there with Kyle Thornton. Both those brought to you by Flat Stick Pub and the Cougar Collective. Go visit the cougarcollective.org today. All right, that is it for us here on a busy, busy Wednesday. Coming up tomorrow on the program on Thursday, we'll talk to Mike Garafolo. Coming up on Thursday, we'll talk to Brad Adams. So we'll cover a little baseball, and we'll cover a little football coming up tomorrow. These shows will be up a little bit later today, a little after 1 o'clock on all the platforms, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you find a podcast. I keep saying that over and over again. I should get paid $1 for every time I say that. As always, everybody watching, listening, thank you so much for tuning in. We'll talk to you tomorrow. As always, we promise to be better.
No shirt, no shoes, no ties.
Would anybody like to smoke some pot?
Yeah. I was born to love you. I was born to lick your face. I was born to rub you. But you were born to rub me first.
What do you need my address for? We'd like to send out a mailer.
Mother of mercy, I don't speak Japanese!